congratulations to Real Madrid on winning their 14th European Cup. Quite frankly, we weren't good enough today in the final third, and I feel like that's what cost us. There's no bitterness from my side. Yeah, I've got no complaints about how the day worked out. Madrid just were more ruthless in front of goal. You can look at the stats, you can look at the shots, the chances created, all that kind of stuff. But as I always say to you guys, the only stat that matters on a football pitch is the scoreboard. And with all the talk of contracts wanting to be paid along with the best players in the world, in the final, the players that deserve these big contracts, the players that earn this big money usually show up. And today, our forwards, unfortunately for us, just didn't show up. It's still been an incredible season, but it just feels very anticlimactical right now. It's always very difficult when you look on and you see the opposition celebrating. I mean, I wish them a lovely evening and all that stuff, and I hope their fans celebrate long into the night. But it's just another case of what if for us, isn't it? And we go through and try and pick the bones out of that one. Congratulations to Real Madrid. They're a supreme club. They are well managed. They played as well. Look, I've no complaints about today. No complaints at all. Even the little rub of the green from our side, if you talk about the VAR incident in the first half, that went their way. And we just didn't take our chances. It felt like time and time again we were met with, quite frankly, an unbelievable goalkeeper, an unbelievable performance from Thibaut Courtois. I mean, look, he was incredible. Incredible today. The save he made for Mohamed Salah late into the game, where Salah did everything right, controlled it well, took it onto his right foot, hit it strong, powerfully, and Thibaut Courtois was there with an unbelievably strong right arm to touch the ball behind. But ultimately, look, I think it just broke down to when we got to the final third, we weren't able to pick out a Liverpool shirt around the Real Madrid penalty area, and it did feel like one of these days where we could have been there for a week and we wouldn't have scored. And on the biggest occasion, you want the big boys to show up. Vinicius Jr. showed up and scored for Real Madrid. And unfortunately, our front three weren't their prolific best. That's the best way I can put it. I don't want to go in on people here. Now isn't the right time to do it. We will talk more in the coming days about it. Yano Yup, thank you for the super chat. And I don't want to hear nothing about this parade tomorrow. We've not won the two big ones. What PR will come out next week? I wonder. What a letdown. It does feel really anticlimactical, mate. I can't argue against you. If you lose in a final like that after, I can't argue. I've always said it won't feel like a successful season unless we pinch one of the two big ones. And look, the league was always a long shot. It was out of our hands. But today just sucks. Today just feels shit. Today is incredibly, incredibly difficult to look on and see, but well done to Real Madrid. I don't know, I don't want to be on here arguing and screaming and shouting and throwing players under a bus. I will go through for some player ratings in a couple of minutes and see what you guys feel about that one. I thought Trent was god-awful today with his delivery. I thought the referee actually had quite a good game. A few little things that, of course, we'd all disagree with him on, but I thought the referee was extremely consistent in his decision-making. And you cannot take the amount of shots that we took today and not score. It's verging on the unforgivable. It is. And look, I'm expecting the banter to come in from opposition fans. We all view these through different eyes. I'm incredibly proud of Liverpool Football Club and our journey, which will continue. But yeah, man, it sucks. It always sucks. All the trolls forgetting their team didn't make it to the final, said Emil. Yeah, man, look, it is what it is. It is what it is, which is a massive, massive kick in the nuts. I'm looking at John W. Henry there on the stage. as the referees go up to collect their medals from the occasion. You know, all the talk about revenge from our boys, all the talk about wanting to put right Kiev. I'm sure the manager will come and put a spin on it, but I'm going to give you the honest truth. I'm going to allow the lads to get their medals here before I really go through my player ratings and tell you exactly how I feel about performances today. Classy from Real Madrid as they clap on the Liverpool boys as we go up to collect their medals. Oh man, this sucks, doesn't it? It sucks, but this is sport. This is sport, my friends. Real Madrid played efficiently, defended well, always had two banks of four back behind the ball. And we couldn't break them down. And we were met with a goalkeeper who, quite frankly, was incredible. Incredible from Thibaut Courtois. Courtois, their man of the match, need a proper striker. Agree, said Blake. We need to do something with the front three, mate, because it seems like it's had its day. Bumba Dog said, I will throw players under a bus. I love Mo, but all this talk, or not, of him from him and Rami Abbas, he hasn't been there since January. I'd sell him. Any talk of revenge / payback for what? Alright, look, I'm going to go through my player ratings now and tell you how I feel about everybody's performance. And we'll start with our goalkeeper. How can I fault Alisson today? Nothing he could have done about Vinicius Junior's goal. So yeah, Alisson, solid 7. I don't know, you could give him any score you wanted because he had nothing to do really, which is the ironic part of all of this. Trent, some good defending from Trent. You know, where was he for Vinicius Junior? Was he ball watching? Did he not see him glancing behind? It's very difficult to be critical when I know, as somebody who's played football, and you know from watching football, that when the ball's on the far side, the players do shift across. It's natural, it happens. But Madrid moved the ball quickly, and they showed how to really impact the situation when in the final third. They weren't blindly crossing the ball like we did, where we were just smacking it out off, just hitting and hoping. And that's what I felt Trent did in the final third today. There was certainly a couple of occasions where I expected a lot more from Trent Alexander-Arnold in the final third, a lot more composure, and it wasn't there. So ultimately I'm going to give Trent a 6 for his performance today. Andy Robertson, I thought Andy Robertson was awful. I can't lie. There was time and time again, and I've said it all season, I've been consistent in what I've said. He must be under instruction to do it, but we were so narrow on the left-hand side today. I just felt there was so much space we could have tried to exploit. If you watch the game back, you'll see Luis Diaz was never more than 10-15 yards away from Sadio Mane, who was central. And it just left space, and I would have wanted Robert to attack that space, but we didn't do it today. And every time we took a touch, we seemed to turn back into traffic. So Robbo gets a 6 for me today. Our centre-backs, I thought outside of the mistake between Canade and Alisson for the goal that was ruled out by VAR, I actually thought Canade and Van Dijk did well today. Like, Benzema didn't really impact the game too much. Canade made some excellent interceptions. We were playing on the edge in the first half where Madrid so nearly got behind us, but one last challenge, one last foot in from somebody was saving the day. And I've got to give our centre-backs both a solid 7. I don't think they did too much wrong, to be fair, Virgil van Dijk or Ibrahima Canade. In midfield, which was the area I felt like I was most worried about going into this game, quite frankly, when you see the opposition midfield of Casemiro, of Toni Kroos, of Luka Modric. You know they're getting on in years, but you also know the calibre and the talent that's there. And I thought our midfield coped really well. I was absolutely amazed to see Thiago manage to get through 75 odd minutes. I thought maybe Henderson in the final third perhaps could have been a bit more influential. Thiago was certainly playing very far forward today, which is something we haven't seen too much of from him, which I liked. But ultimately, look, Fabinho, 7. I think Fabinho did okay in midfield. I think we won the midfield battle, which I swear, if you said to me all week, "You're going to win the midfield battle, Craig. How do you think he'll come out?" I would have almost guaranteed you a victory. Henderson 6.5. Thiago. It's a difficult one to gauge this because I feel like Thiago was playing within himself because maybe he was worried. But how do you judge a Thiago performance? Do you judge him from the passes between the eye of a needle? Do you judge how he impacts the game? I actually don't know on this occasion. I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm struggling to really, without watching it back, to really grasp Thiago's performance. But for his courage of playing through pain, I'll give him a 7. Diaz, 6. Flatter to deceive. Wasn't the pain in Madrid's arse that we were expecting. Mane, I think probably the best of our front three today, if I'm being really honest with you, in my opinion. Some good link-up play, some really, really, really good shot in the first half that Courtois touched onto the post. I was sure when that left Sadio's foot, that was the opening goal of the Champions League final. So I'm going to give Sadio a 7. We await Sadio's news. I know Sadio's news, but I've always said I'm going to wait for Sadio to announce it. And Mohamed Salah. I was expecting Mohamed Salah to play like his life depended on that game today. And I suppose the difference between this being a good night for Mohamed Salah and this being the night that it has been for Mohamed Salah will probably boil down to that Thibaut Courtois save with his right hand. If that goes in the net, we have the conversation where we say Salah wasn't really that involved in the game, but he took his moment when it came his way. He didn't take that moment today, and that's how he shall be judged, because ultimately on the big occasion, if you want to be a Cristiano Ronaldo, if you want to be a Lionel Messi, you show up, you perform on the biggest stage, and he didn't do that today. So I don't know what Mohamed Salah's future entails, but he's getting a 5 for me for that performance today. And quite frankly, his entire second half of the season has been unacceptable. It's been subpar. We've made excuses. We've talked about fatigue. We've talked about the contract distractions. We've spoken about the disappointment from international results. But he's been awful. And I can't put it any other way. I can't lie because I'm worried about what we're going to say about Mohamed Salah. He was shy. He was shy today, and he's been shy for a long time. And we await to see what happens. He says he's staying at the club next season. Does that mean he's leaving on a free at the end of it? I don't know. But I'm going to hand it over to you guys in the chat for a few minutes. And yeah, let you have your say. So any comments you want to put in, please do put them in. Joanne, thank you for the super sticker. CM said Ala Madrid, some quadruple. I don't want to say to you, man. I respect your banter and all that, but as I'm sure you're aware, man, it sucks right now for us and it hurts. But congratulations to Real Madrid. James O'Mahony said our forwards never took chances, not clinical enough. We need a proper striker, and I think you're right, a revamp of the forwards needs to be done. Blake said Mane can go, Salah to take 250 or he can leave as well. Keita couldn't pass a parcel, said Liverpool Reels. We just seem to, every time we got an opportunity to counter-attack, our transition was incredibly slow today. I must have been from respect about not wanting to be caught in possession when we tried to attack, but I'm baffled at what I've seen today unfold from that Liverpool team, because that isn't how we... United fans in the chat saying United, mate. Enjoy Thursday nights next season, man. That's all I can say to you. But look, it'd be the other way around. Well, no, I wouldn't be on United fan channels commenting because I'd have better stuff to do with my life, but I expect it and I understand it. We need Harry Kane, said Michael Kennedy. Yeah, we're not going to go out and buy Harry Kane right now when Spurs have qualified for the Champions League and Conte's had 150 million freed up in funds for Spurs to invest. So I think You know, they're looking at maybe bringing in Ivan Perisic on a free. And you know what? I think our manager needs to be critiqued today as well. Always really difficult to critique Jurgen because, let's be honest, we all idolise the man. We love him. He's the messiah to us. But I will never understand how Kostas Tsimikas didn't enter that pitch today when we were chasing the game in particular. The fact that Andy Robertson stayed on and continued to just cut inside and be entirely predictable, I just don't understand. I don't understand why Kostas didn't get 15 minutes at the end. Other than that, substitution-wise, understandable. Tactics-wise, hard to know until we hear Jurgen speak, but I felt like we were too cautious. But then again, I say that, but I have to also acknowledge who we were playing. We were playing European royalty, but I think it got in our head. And we played within ourselves. That's all I can say. Watching Real Madrid celebrate with their fans now, and it's painful, as I'm sure you can understand. But ultimately, they won. And, you know, sometimes you feel like a team's name is written in the stars for a trophy. Real Madrid have done this the hard way. They deserve immense credit, and I'm going to give it to them because they had an epic comeback against PSG. They dispatched of Chelsea. They dispatched of Manchester City. And they've dispatched of Liverpool. And that is a run to a Champions League final or to a Champions League victory that none of us, as football fans, can argue against. It's a phenomenal run. It is. It's a phenomenal run. You know, they've had a hard pathway through there. And fair play to them. Wayne said, United fan now, but what happens with Salah now, Craig? Wayne, very difficult to make these assessments, mate, in the heat of the moment, you know, when you're fairly emotional about it. But I said all season, this distraction has lessened, and I can only speak for me, Wayne, this Mohamed Salah situation has lessened my love of the man. Yeah, it has. It's left me with a sour taste because I feel like whatever people say, it was a distraction and an unnecessary distraction. So, what happens with Mohamed Salah? I don't think he gets a new deal. I think he may leave on a free at the end of next season. And he was shy today. But he wasn't alone. Our forwards just didn't show up. But what I will say, you can't give a Billy Big Bollocks about revenge and unfinished business and do that. He was anonymous in the first half. As the game got stretched, he started to get more opportunities. I am baffled at the amount of our shots that don't make it as far as the goal, that are blocked by extra touches. I am amazed by the amount of hit and hope balls we play across penalty areas rather than getting our head up and having a look. I am amazed that Mohamed Salah wasn't switched at any point to the left-hand side or to the centre to give Madrid something else to think about. And I just felt like we were too cautious. I felt like we were too cautious in the game. And we were taught a lesson on efficiency from a team that are not as good as they once were, but still too good for us today. Bumba Dog said, okay, so lesson, does FSG authorise a spend? Does Klopp? Or do they say, but for this save or that, we won the comp? I want upgrades because I see upgrades in the coming days. Look, ultimately, ultimately it's about winning, isn't it? You know, nobody cares about second place. Nobody gives a shit about almost. And at the highest level of sports, you either win or you don't. And two domestic cups is alright, but it's not one of the big ones. And for any Liverpool fan to say that this feels anything other than extremely anticlimactical would be a lie. It hurts. It hurts more because we just didn't play our best. And teams that peak at the right time win shit. And we played shit in the final against Spurs and won that game. We played shit against Real Madrid and lost that game. And we played well in the first 70% of the pitch today. And in the final third, against, and make no bones about this, a makeshift back four. David Alaba isn't a centre-back. He can play there, but he isn't a centre-back. He's not a natural centre-back. Militao isn't great. Mendy is awful. Carvajal's a good player. And I thought our front three were going to tear them apart. I thought they were going to turn them inside out, and I thought they were going to rip them a new one. And they didn't. They didn't. They just didn't. Right, some more comments. What's this? I think I can meet up. I don't know what that's about. Said Jack. Jack, I've no idea, mate, what that super chat's about, mate. Yano Yup said, I don't want to hear rubbish about us not having money. FSG better back the manager and stop looking for cheap ways out. Yeah, again, this might be my age here, but I'm trying not to be too reactionary. I don't like kicking our boys when they're down. Yeah, look, Courtois was amazing. Sucks, doesn't it? Yeah, look, all I can say again is congratulations to Real Madrid, and yeah, that's all I can say is congratulations to Real Madrid. I'm trying to not look at the chat too much because I can see all the trolling and banter from opposition fans who are trying to, United fans in particular, give me a good chuckle today, trying to somehow hitch their wagon onto this moral victory or somewhat, whatever. But again, we'll be back in this competition next year, so and we'll go deep in it again. But look, and nothing I can say now is going to disguise the fact that ultimately I feel like this season's petered out into a whole bag of nothingness. Vince says, you really thought you would scam your way to a trophy with an easy run. Vince, my man, you do know that we didn't map out the Champions League, right? We didn't knock out Bayern Munich, mate. It's not our fault they weren't there in the semis. We can only be what was put in front of us. And I would ask you to have a look back at our group, buddy, and, rewind your mind back to when the draw was made. It was called the group of death, and we bitch slapped the group. We won every single game home and away. We beat the now champions of Italy. We beat the past champions of Italy. We beat the champions of Portugal. We beat the champions of pretty much all the major leagues except Real Madrid. And the champions of Spain today, the current new champions of Spain, were too good for us on the day. And for that, I congratulate them. But make no bones about this, opposition fans, any of you, whoever, and I don't know who you support in the chat, but make no bones about this. Have your moment, enjoy it, enjoy your banter, but we'll still be better than you next season. We'll still go further than you in competitions next season, and United will still be watching us succeed next season while they, I don't know, are off in Ballygo backwards land on Thursday night playing somebody I've never heard of before. So there is that. And I'm proud of our team, but I can't lie. Feels like a kick in the nuts that we haven't gone on to seal one of the big two. Gokul said, I wish Klopp learned from Jose when it comes to one-off game. First goal matters. Don't need to change the style altogether. Yeah, it did feel like that today. It did feel like today the first goal was huge in the game, particularly the longer it went. I know this is stating the obvious, but the longer the game goes, the first goal becomes more and more and more important. And let's be honest, did any of us really feel when Madrid went 1-0 up? Like, really in our heart of hearts feel like we were going to find a way back into that game? Because I tried to put on a brave face on the watch along. I tried to be as positive as I can, but ultimately I didn't feel like we were going to score today. Just felt like one of those days. What do you rate our season? Said Sipsco. What do I rate our season? Well, I'm not going to rewrite history, mate. Most seasons I don't give a shite about the domestic cups. And I can't try and come on here and claim that this is some big moral victory. It's always good when you have a season where you win silverware. That's always nice. But to finish second in the Champions League and second in the Premier League, the two domestic cups are nice days out at Wembley for the fan base and all, but ultimately they're not really what we set about going for this season, are they? 3 finals and 0 goals scored. Don't know what to make of it, said Ayush. Yeah, 3 finals this season, you're right, mate. 3 finals, and we didn't find the back of the net in one of them. Now, you can flip that and say we conceded 1 goal, but ultimately, we're supposed to have the best, or one of the best attacking trifectas in world football. And as I've always said, and I said earlier on in this video, when you get to a Champions League final, or when you get to a big final, that's when the big players are supposed to show up, to show that they belong on the big stage. And the stat about 3 finals in a season and not scoring 1 goal, it's a damning stat. I can't lie. I can't just gloss over it and try and say it isn't. It isn't unacceptable. It is unacceptable. So yeah, didn't score in 3 finals. Sucks. Yeah, it sucks. A little word before I head off as well on the issue with the gates outside. I mean, from the authorities to be trying to blame late fans arriving at the stadium, I think was all kinds of disgusting. The fact of the matter is they locked the gates, the staff fucked off, and people with tickets were left outside struggling to get inside the stadium to a game that many of these people probably took out loans for, or used their savings for, or, you know, maybe sold things to get there. It's a once in a lifetime experience for a lot of people to go to a European Cup final, and people have travelled from all over the world. So the contempt shown by whomever is in charge of running the stadium on the day, whether that's UEFA, whether that's the Parc des Princes themselves, I don't know. But ultimately, in a UEFA showpiece event where not even half the stadium was filled full of fans of each team, well, as in, it should have been a 50-50 split between each team, but for Liverpool fans to be left outside, it's not good enough. And I've seen Peter Moore tweet about it. I've seen the Anfield Rap lads tweet about it, saying that they've seen people, stewards at the time, asking for backhanders, asking for a few bob to be allowed in. When you see the price of them tickets and the sacrifices and the effort people made to get there, I'm sorry, it's unacceptable, and it should never happen to any team. And I get that people will do all the low jokes about Scouts. I get all that shit, but I will again just reply to everybody and say, it's us this time, but we've seen it happen before. We've seen it happen to United fans when travelling in Spain. I've seen the heavy-handed treatment they received. I've seen Chelsea fans travelling away get it. I've seen it happens time and time again. And I am fed up of our sport and the patrons, the supporters of our sport being treated like animals. It wouldn't happen in any other sport. The authorities wouldn't view people in this way, and it needs to be better. UEFA need to be better. The authorities need to be better. And I hope lessons are learned from it, because it's unacceptable that it happened. Again, I'm sure more news on this will come about. A couple more super chats to go through. Craig, the lads did us proud. We tried our best given the run Real had. I think they also deserved it. immense credit to Real Madrid. Like, when we won it in 2005, it felt like our name was etched on that trophy. Real Madrid fans kind of rightly gone into this game today feeling like their name may be etched on that trophy. Sometimes the footballing gods you know, that you just know. And yeah, their run was incredible, and they showed tremendous bottle and bravery. Put their bodies on the line today, made the blocks. Fair play to them. I've got nothing but respect to them, and I congratulate them on their 14th European Cup. Do you reckon Salah, Mane, Firmino are all going to leave now? I will let Sadio make his own statement about his future. Firmino, I honestly don't know about Bobby. Genuinely haven't got a Scooby-Doo. It's been very quiet around him. But Mohamed Salah, I don't feel he deserves 400 grand a week. I just don't. I'm sorry, I don't. Not after that second half of the season. Yeah. Yeah, look, I'm gonna call that a night, my friends. Yeah, look, I thank you all for your support again all season. It means a lot to us. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. Maybe drop a like on the video as well. There's not much to like from our perspective today, obviously. And yeah, look, I appreciate your support. It means a lot. Thank you for all your kindness, for your support of our channel, and yeah, we'll see you very soon. And congratulations once again to Real Madrid, thoroughly deserving European champions, and we'll be back next season to try again. Thank you guys. I'll talk to you soon.